Hey, good morning, knife nerds and everyday carry people. It's your boy, the Big Canucker, and coming at you with a little bit of a weird one. The CRKT Razel. It's a folding Razel knife. Now, this comes in a couple of different ways. This is a CRKT model, and you've also got a CRKT stubby Razel. You can also get a Razel fixed blade in two different sizes. And you can also get, I guess, a mid-tech knife Razel by the John and Josh Graham of Graham Knives. And this knife here it's a real interesting one. You know, it's got some things going for it, but the majority of the stuff that this knife has going for it, I believe, is kind of a little bit negative. And I'm going to tell you why. But I'm also going to tell you why I think you should probably have one in your collection. I mean, if you're just the average knife guy and you want a real stout something to open up boxes, this is a good knife for you. If you're an EDC guy and you've only got maybe one or two knives in your rotation, and this may be something that you'll want to pass by. But if you're a knife collector like me, I think this is interesting enough to put inside your collection and just to have as almost like an object d'art. Just trying to get a little bit fancy here. I'm just trying to church it up a little bit. All right, let's go with the size here. Size comparison, of course, she's a little bit smaller than the Big Daddy Spyderco Paramilitary 2. And as you can see, she's got quite a bit of size on the Dragonfly here too as well. So that gives you an idea of kind of the size comparison. Let's kind of put those away here. Overall length is 8 inches. And so it's a fairly good size. Now you're going to have a blade length of 3.5 inches. And your blade, that's the most interesting thing about this knife, is the fact that it is a chisel ground or a chisel shaped blade. And you don't often see that very much. Now the actual Razel Mid-Tech itself is a little bit more straight. And I'm sure if you look at oh my goodness. I'm sure if you look online, you can see that there is some Razel mid-techs out there to review, and the people who have them really love them. Now, Nick Shabazz, I think that's one of his top 5 knives, and I can see why. It looks like a tremendous blade, whereas this one just has got some funky things going for it that just makes it something that you want to have in your collection, but just maybe not in your pocket all the time. Now, I imagine you still can get one of these out there somewhere. Now, I picked this up for $24 Canadian. To me, it was an absolute steal for that kind of money to have this knife in your collection, because it is a really kind of neat shaped blade, but it's got so much going against it. She's a real chunky monkey, this knife here. At 8 inches long and 6.1 ounce, she's a real heavy one. So it's not something you'll want to use in, I guess a pair of shorts or sweatpants or stuff like that. They'll give you the old saggy pocket. But it is something that you definitely want to, I think, own if you're a knife guy. Let's go back to some more of the specs here too as well. Now they say the blade style is a razor. It's got a little bit of a belly to it. It's not completely flat. It does have the straight chisel that's just angled back ever so slightly. It's a kind of a hollow ground here too as well. 8013 MOV steel, which is, I know, it's a steel that 20 years ago would be a really top end steel, but now I can't stand 8013 MOV. I'm sorry, folks. I know that there's some budget offerings out there, but please, knife manufacturers, go with some Sandvik steel, some 14128. Just even the D2 tool steel is starting to become more of a budget offering. That is, I don't know. I've never had really good luck with edge holding on an 8013 MOV. And I know my first knife was a Spyderco Tenacious with the 8013 MOV. But even then, I noticed that I was sharpening that knife quite a bit. And D2 is going to get you probably about 30% more edge holding ability, and I think for the same price. But anyways, now she's a liner lock. To go along with that. Now that is a tip up and tip down carry. Now you've got this here too is a nice big flat. It is a good looking clip. I mean, there's some things about this knife that are really, really good looking. Now the other clip that comes with this is, I don't know exactly where it is. So I know that the Midtech Razel has got a clip that comes out this way and allows you to sit inside your pocket. Not a traditional down the side. It's more along the side here too, I believe. All right. So you've got a two-tone, kind of a smooth G10, which, you know what? I like this, the smooth G10-ness. I like it as the way it feels. It's not an extremely grippy type of blade, so I think it's more for looks and more for kinesthetic tactile reasons. How's that for a big word? Kinesthetic tactile. So I just don't really like the two-tone. I think this knife would have been better looking if they would have just made it completely black or completely gray. I don't know. I just don't really like some of the things about this knife. The other thing here is you've got what's called the lock system, which you flip that up and it allows you to lock your liner. Lock is completely locked. And they say effectively turning this into a fixed blade knife. Now, I haven't tested this to destruction, so I can't tell you if it does or not. All I can tell you, though, is when I did EDC this for a little while, this thing drove me crazy. It's got some good grip on it, so it drives me crazy. Sometimes when you want it to bear down on the knife, you'd hit that accidentally, not pay attention. You go to lock your knife, and you got to unlock it and then close it up. So was a real pain in the butt. Now this particular knife has got, I would say, it's got decent ergo. It fills the hand really well. I think it could have used quite a bit of a haircut on this palm swell here a little bit. And I also think these are a real double-edged sword here. When you've got your cutouts for your fingers, if you've got really fat fingers or really small fingers, these don't work for you. Lots of times people really complain that where the fingers are supposed to go, theirs don't fit, so it really bothers them. For me, I've got fairly large hands, and it does fit my hand quite well, but I just think it's too damn heavy. I would rather have it be lighter and a little bit thinner. To ride in the pocket, I think a little bit more nice for what it is. I mean, an 8-inch blade at 6 ounces, over 6 ounces, I just think it's just a little too heavy. Okay. So, like I said, she's a liner lock, and now your liner locks here too as well. When you first get this knife, you'll notice that these are really quite a grippy liner lock. They're not. You can see that it does. You have to really kind of get the meat of your thumb in there to close this. But other than that, I can see repeated opening, closing, this kind of tearing up your thumb a little bit. It is really quite sharp. Now, if I was going to EDC this knife in a kind of a more than once a year that I'm doing right now, I would probably take this back just a little bit to make it easier to close, and I might even file that down just a smidge, just to make it a little bit less rough on the tip of your finger. And the other thing I would definitely do is I would take this and I would put it over to the other side, so you've got a tip up carry. Tip down carry drives me crazy. The other thing I might even do is pop this open and take out that locks. That just drives me batty, absolutely batty. All right, so now I know that you can get the CRKT stubby right now. Very inexpensive. I do believe it is less than $30. Something that it's lighter than this. It has a lot less of the kind of little kitschy options on it. I think that would be a great little box cutter knife if you're kind of a partsman or something like that, and you're looking for a folding pocket knife to open up, your cardboard boxes. That's definitely something you'd want to put inside your pocket. I also think that if you're a collector and you can afford to get the Midtech Razel, do it, because every video I've watched on that, people think the execution of that knife is tremendous, especially Nick Shabazz. It's one of his favorites, and Big Daddy Nick knows what he's talking about when it comes to knives. So I would definitely put one of those in your pocket if you can afford it. This particular one, if you're a collector and you can get it for inexpensive like I did, yes, it's something to have inside your collection, because I think if you're a collector, you try to have as many different examples of cutting implements as possible within reason. But if you're a knife guy with one or two knives in your rotation, I don't think this is one to put in your rotation. Just too many things about it that just are not great. And I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, to me, this is going to be a 4. Just the weight of it, the thickness of it, the little kitschy lock on it, the steel, and the two-tone G10. Man, oh man, she's a 4 to 10 for me. But I hope you enjoyed this. Now, if you like what you saw, please give me the thumbs up, and also please give me the subscribe. I really, really appreciate it, you guys. You guys have been wonderful. I love hearing your comments about these knives, and I'm learning something so much. So please, give me as many comments as you can. If you have any questions, I love answering questions. I appreciate your guys' support so much. Now, I want you guys to stay safe out there, because she's a little bit nasty going on around the world with this pandemic. So please keep yourself safe. Remember, keep your stick on the ice, the shiny side up. This is the Big Canucker saying adios.